All right. Good morning. I went live early because last time I was bamboozled by technology. Um, and then I had to wait, and then I was like 10 minutes late hopping on. So I didn't want that to happen this time. So I said, let me go live, make sure that it is going live, and that I'm not going to be bamboozled by the internal network of government. And here we are. All right. The hot drink, hot take. The hot drink is the strongest cup of coffee that I can stand to make, as I'm running out of my Planet Oatmeal Creamer. And it's been a rough couple of days. A lot of events, a lot of stuff going on. As you can see, I probably look the way I feel. And then we have budget coming up as well. So a strong cup of coffee is a hot drink. And the hot take is yet another video game quote. Comes to us from character Mary Kay McCall from The Last of Us. You can't be brave if you've only had wonderful things happen to you. And I think The Last of Us, first of all, is a game about, well, post-apocalyptic. Zombies have kind of taken over, not zombies in what we've known them as. And I think the scariest part of The Last of Us is that the science behind it already exists. If you're interested in looking more of it up and seeing exactly what it's about, if you haven't played the game, I firmly recommend it because it's a great example of how real world science and disease and infections can actually be translated into something even scarier in a video game. Um, so yes, you can be brave if you've only ever had wonderful things happen to you. And I think that's an important lesson that, especially, I want young people to take note of. That life is going to come with challenges and it's going to come with adversity, and you don't develop the type of courage, the type of bravery, the type of assertiveness and confidence just by having good things happen to you and having things go your way. What I've gathered from a lot of the time I've spent in this role, and even when I was in Parliament, is that people tend to want the best, and that's perfectly logical and fine. But ultimately, life is not going to go perfectly for anyone. You really have to work at it to have good things happen to you. And if only good things happen to you, then you're never going to be tested, battle tested, as they say. You're never going to be able to learn how to adapt, how to pivot. And that's what I like to see when some of the teachers that I've encountered, that's the kind of learning, the kind of teaching approach that they adapt, They want their kids to be able to have run into a problem here and then pivot to the solution over there. And I think problem solving is something that I really like to see how some of our teachers have incorporated it into their classrooms. So that is the hot take of the day. And word of the day, which is brought to you by the Googs, myriad. I actually really like this word. It means a countless or extremely great number. So I think I've even used it in Parliament, and somebody texted me and was like, "What was that word?" And I said, "Oh, so I really have to keep incorporating these words so that people can look them up, learn what they mean, and expand their vocabulary." So myriad. It's a lot of networks connecting a myriad of computers. There are a myriad of reasons why you should not eat that thing. So that's the word. It's MYRIAD. Sorry, more coffee. And that is the word of the day. Myriad. Will there be a myriad of questions asked in this week's budget handling? Probably. And don't forget as well that June's game of the month, I introduced this in the last live stream for those of you who weren't there, but every month I'm going to cover a game that I have played or am playing, because some games you can finish in a couple of days, some games you finish maybe in a year. But June's game of the month is Deliver Us Mars, a single player puzzle game from Dutch game developer Kyoken. Really enjoyed that game. Suitable, I believe it's Peggy 12, so kids 12 and up. And rated that, I think, for the very young adult themes. There's grief. It deals with grief. It deals with coming to realizations about yourself, about your family. So, but still a game that I definitely recommend. Wonderful puzzle game backed up by a great story from Kyoken and sci-fi. So definitely one of my favorite genres. So Deliver Us Mars is available on PlayStation 5, Xbox, PC, and I think Switch. I'm not entirely sure. And now on to the main topics. Vacation pay. So the Minister of Finance confirmed that the vacation pay was paid out to the subsidized school boards. I wanted to touch on it here just to reiterate what my colleague Minister Marinka Gumbs stated yesterday, which is school boards now have the responsibility to disburse the vacation pay to the subsidized school teachers. I've heard many complaints from subsidized school board teachers about not receiving their vacation pay or in the past indexation pay at the same time as public school teachers. And I'm going to keep explaining it, and hopefully everyone will get it one day that ultimately the ministry public education is entirely the ministry's responsibility. The subsidized school boards receive subsidy from government, and the school boards are responsible for paying out any increments, any vacation pay, indexations, etc. um, if we were, for example, like the other islands where you will have private schools and then you have public education, every school would be public. And then every school would be up to the ministry to then pay out these increments and these benefits. As it stands, St. Martin has set up our education system where you have public education, which is certain number of schools and their teachers, and then you have the subsidized school boards, and they're responsible for the operations, daily operations of their schools. Um, and they are classified, of course, as semi-private. We can debate whether or not that is actually the case, but ultimately that is how it goes. I was in St. Lucia, and they explained to me that unless it is a sort of a Montessori kind of school, etc., every school is a public school, and that is why their ministry has control over literally almost every school on the island. So I just wanted to clear that up. So I do join Minister Marinka Gums in urging the boards to pay out the vacation pay, as government has done its duty and paid it out to the subsidized school boards. Further to that, I just wanted to touch base as well. The National Short Story Contest is live. The promotional artwork is out. We will be sharing a round of it again, and then after budget, we'll be possibly going on radio again to talk about it, talk about the prizes. But I want to talk about the prizes here, since I know most persons will watch and they will get some information about the ministry here on the live stream. So our key sponsors and partners for this National Short Story Contest, the first edition, the Dame You Rebuke National Short Story Contest, are RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, Bullchans, Antec, and Class Electronics. And the prizes that they are offering are, for most of them, structural, meaning that most of our partners have committed to 3 years to provide prizes for this. So we know that the short story contest will have a lifespan at least of 3 years, and I do hope that whatever happens, that it is continued by the ministry. We have some great tech gifts coming at us from Antec, from Bullchans as well, and from Class Electronics. And I've even had some persons reach out to me about adding to some of our prize pools because they really do like the idea and they want to embrace it. And if you are a business that would like to get in touch and see how you can contribute to this particular contest and some of the other initiatives that we're going to have built around literacy and numeracy, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, the cabinet, or the ministry directly. RBC, however, I want to talk a bit about the prizes there. So they will be providing a accrual savings account for each prize winner. There will be 3 prizes, first, second, and third. And I'm particularly proud of this agreement, and I want to thank management of RBC for their willingness to participate in this manner. So the first place winner will receive an accrual savings account in the winner's name with an initial deposit of 1,800 guilders, $1,000. The second place winner will receive the same accrual savings account initial deposit of $500, and the third place winner a savings account in their name the initial deposit of $250. Now, why the focus on having it be an accrual savings account? Because I would like to have these winners also build some financial capital for themselves. These are savings accounts where no one is going to be able to take out from them until the winner themselves is 18 years old. The parents won't be able to take out money from them, any legal guardians or anything like that. However, parents, the winner themselves, their community, their neighbors, their aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, businesses, whomever, will be able to contribute to the account. And the intention is by the time they're 18, they have saved up, a little something for themselves as they get ready to continue the next stage of their education. And I found that this was a really nice way to tie in literacy, reading, creative writing, as well as financial literacy, and encouraging our kids to begin preparing for their financial responsibilities later on in life. So I do want to once again thank RBC management for being willing to come on board for this particular initiative. It is something that I'm very happy about and very proud about. And we will continue to develop this relationship so that this is something that we can hopefully continue to offer along the way. Antech as well, for the first place winner, will be providing a laptop along with a Office apps subscription, in which the winner will have access to the Microsoft suite of products. Um, and there's some other potential prizes coming on for the first place winner. Second place winner, there will be tablets and other devices as well for second and third place winners, that I hope they'll be able to use in their creative writing journey, or even in their creative drawing journey, because a lot of our writers also are artists, and those are things that we want to be able to foster and encourage as the ministry, that they can uh, use these tools to grow their craft, develop their craft, and become the next literary giants or artistic giants of St. Martin. So I'm very happy again to announce that we will be communicating more about these prizes in the public domain. Um, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the submissions that we get when that starts. Don't forget that submissions will actually start the 1st of August to 21st of August. So you have all summer to write your story. And I will be again going on radio and communicating with the schools about what is actually coming with the short story contest. So that's on that. Aside from that, in Parliament we have coming up the public handling of the 2025 budget again, and that should kick off tomorrow. However, it may kick off on Thursday. Sorry, when you start back at the gym, the soreness is real. So yes, budget 2025, the public handling once again. I had some people ask me, Melissa, you were in Parliament, and I don't remember you ever asking like, repetitive questions or questions that had nothing to do with the budget or anything like that. Every MP handles their job differently. I do wish that some had gotten a little more clarity on their job before they applied for the job by running in an election. But that is the reality. So we can't control what questions they ask. If someone was like, you can't stop them from asking these stupid questions, I can't. It is a right of every member of parliament to question the government, to ask questions, to seek clarity. Do some get a little too nitty gritty into, well, not even nitty gritty actually, it's a lot of time wasting requests. Time wasting on the sense of the government. I was always a member of parliament that tried to keep my questions very clear. And I don't think any former minister could say that I wasted time asking um, political questions in a central committee meeting, or even really dragging time in a public meeting to ask certain questions or to repeat questions that I'd asked before. I was a member of parliament that even if someone from the other side of the aisle had asked a question I had written down, I'm scratching it out. Right now, you have the situations where, and even then, you have people want to ask the same question 3 times. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense because we all get the answers in writing, so we can all read the answers to everybody else's question. I've even asked clarifications on answers that were given to former MP Duncan, for example, because she didn't ask clarification, but you can. I didn't ask the question, but I asked for clarification on it. So that's really what it is, and it's I think too for people to also get information about what is the role of a member of parliament. What are the boundaries of their responsibility, because they do have boundaries. And what is then the role of government when it comes to providing information and so forth. So just I think not maybe this year, but year two would be for us to do sort of political education. I encourage teachers as well to discuss what is happening in Parliament with your students. My former social studies / history teacher, Maria van Enkelvoort, used to start off every meeting, every session, the class at St. Dominic High School with the daily newspaper, reading specific headlines, talking to us about current events. One of the things that we had conversations about were things that had happened in St. Martin's history, the airport scandal and everything. Elections, especially when they were coming up, she would ask us to try to find out what each person running, was promoting, was promising, was discussing. So those are the types of conversations I think it's important that teachers also kind of facilitate for their students, because it does build some political responsibility in them. Aside from that, for culture, Emancipation Day is coming up, the 1st of July. It will be a slightly different Emancipation Day than we have experienced in the past. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the Department of Culture has put together for us. So you will be seeing some more information about that this week. In sports, there will be an update in the next 2 weeks. I'll have a more comprehensive update in the next 2 weeks on the pending sports facility repair projects. Some of the sports organizations have reached out to me, as well as NSI and the Sports Federation. And I'm hoping to have a comprehensive and concrete update for you all within the next 2 weeks at least. And for youth, nothing from the ministry per se, but it is summertime, and there are a myriad of summer camps that young people can participate in. You have the Nature Foundation Summer Camp, No Kidding with Our Kids, running from the 30th of June to the 11th of July. If you are a member of ASA, it's $125. If you're not, it's $150. We have the Football Summer Camp from the Football Federation. July 7th to 11th is week one. July 21st to 25th is week two, and it's $150 a week. And then you have the 721 Kids Foundation Summer Camp, July 2nd to the 25th. I think this is like the longest one that I've seen so far. And that is $280. You have sports, crafts, activities, field trips, scavenger hunts, you name it, they got it. And then you have the St. Martin Yacht Club's summer sailing camp, which I definitely would recommend. And this might actually be the longest one, because they've got week one, the 30th of June to the 4th of July, week two, the 7th of July to the 11th, week three, the 14th to the 18th of July, week four, the 21st to the 25th of July, week five, the 28th of July to the 1st of August, and then week six, the 4th to the 8th of August. And that is the sailing camp is $280 per week. They promote that discounts are available. Limited spots, of course. It includes lunch, snacks, water, the boat, I would assume. You should know that your kid can swim, or can at least stay afloat. It's for kids age 6 to 16. As someone who loves being out on the water and who wants to start her own sailing journey soon, because I know I can drive the boat, but I cannot sail. But that's next on the bucket list. I strongly encourage that you get your kids into it, and contact them as well. As you notice, they mentioned that discounts were available. And then aside from that, my other love, which is the Seaside Nature Park, horses, guys. And it's weird because yes, my favorite animals are horses and sharks. But moving along, week one was June 23rd to June 27th, so that's coming up relatively soon. Week two, the 30th of June to the 4th of July. Week three, the 4th of August to the 8th of August, and week four, the 11th of August to the 15th of August. It's $315 per child per week, ages 6 to 12, from 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. Lunch, snacks, and drinks are included. You get a early bird discount that's passed. You get a sibling discount of $20 per sibling. So if you have a myriad of children, feel free to register them. And it's you're essentially around horses. I feel like that's the selling point. That's the only selling point that matters. So yeah, so that's some of the summer camps that I have seen come across my WhatsApp feed in uh, in this events group. So I'm gonna try as they pop up, to kind of say like what they are when we come back to the live next week. Aside from that, study financing had its session last week with parents and students, in light of all that's happening out of the United States. The decisions that have been made, you're seeing now travel bans on certain countries, a discussion of adding some Caribbean countries to the travel ban, which I myself am still fact checking. But that is the reality of this current administration. The study financing division head and staff discuss with students and parents alternatives. Some maybe you can start your school online. In particular, if you have chosen to attend Monroe, we do know that the consulate in Curacao ended up having to acquiesce to the executive order by the state secretary. So no visa, F1 student visa appointments. I want to continue to warn those students and caution them who do have their F1 student visa to stay up to date, monitor the news, and ensure that there are no decisions happening that strip you of your status while you are in the United States of America. Those schools that do offer online schooling, definitely would encourage students to pivot to that. And we also had some students, as I learned yesterday, that have decided to explore going to school in the Netherlands. But of course, they have to now go through the dual application cycle and then plan their plan their trip up for that possibly next year. So that is a bit of what is going on in the study financing world on that side, and with the ministry, with the matters of MECYS and the MECYS matters. It is, of course, hurricane season. There is nothing happening in the Atlantic. I'm happy to see that. It is, of course, early June. We don't usually see a bit of a kickoff and a little rumbling around July, August, and then, of course, the absolute kickoff point of September 4th, that week, my birthday week. So let's hope that it continues to remain quiet even during my birthday week. That's what I'm hoping for. But nevertheless, you should still be preparing. Make sure you have bottled water for at least 2 weeks. If you have non-perishables, when you see this calf will have the tuna fish 5 cans, 5 for 5 or something like that. Buy the 5 cans. Try not to do like some of my friends did in 2017 and eat the tuna cans before the actual hurricane comes. Yeah, 2 changes of clothes in your go bag, your passport in your go bag, radio with batteries, watertight storage for all your important documents and such, and of course, pet food and a safe place for your pets to shelter. One of the saddest things I remember post Hurricane Lewis and post Irma was the fact that you had a lot of pets that were left outside, um, whether cats or dogs or so, and we don't want to see that happen. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be notified of new videos. This is now the official home, as I mentioned before, of MECYS Matters and other things as well coming out of the ministry. You can also follow me on my other socials for updates, and of course, the ministry itself on Facebook at the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport. And thank you very much for tuning in this week. Next week, we will hopefully be out of budget. We'll hopefully have a budget, huh? And we'll be back here in the booth. And also, I'm gonna start doing a competition. If people can tell me where the titles of the episodes come from, where I get those from. The first episode that when I moved to YouTube was "The Limit Does Not Exist," and then last time, the 3rd of June, was "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?" And then today is "It's Game Over, Man." So if you can tell me where that's from, maybe you win like lunch with the minister or something. So yeah, have a good one and see you next week.